In this video, I'll show you how to make my favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe. There are some slight differences from the original Toll House recipe to allow us to make them larger without cooking unevenly or falling apart when done. Die-hard bakers will also note I use a variation on the classic creaming method. The recipe I'll read to you is for a single batch, but you'll notice I'm actually making a double batch in the video. Step 1 is to melt 3/4 cup, that's a stick and a half, of butter and allow it to cool to room temperature. You see I already have the butter in the bowl of my stand mixer. I believe it's important to use real butter here, just in my opinion it makes for a better cookie. The next ingredient is going to be 1 cup of firmly packed brown sugar. Brown sugar of course lends chewiness and the flavor of molasses to the cookies. Just put that in the bowl. Next up is 1/2 cup of granulated white sugar. By changing the ratio of white to brown sugar, you can change the texture of the final product. More white sugar equals a crispier cookie. I lock the mixer down and slowly stir the sugars and butter together. You don't need a stand mixer for this recipe, but it will help. Drop 1 large egg plus 1 egg yolk into the bowl. You saw 4 egg yolks in the video because I'm making a double batch, but you'll only see 2. You'll also add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Imitation extract is fine if that's what you have. And you will also need 1 teaspoon of salt. I prefer kosher salt over table salt for this. Turn the mixer to medium-high speed and let it beat the ingredients for 1.5 to 2 minutes. The next step you can do while the mixture is beating the other ingredients. Put 2 cups of all-purpose flour into a large mixing bowl. On top of that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Make sure that it's baking soda and not baking powder. We'll mix these two together with either a whisk or a fork. You could also use a flour sifter to sift them together, but they can be a pain to clean up afterwards. Doesn't take much, just loosen it up and make it homogeneous. Gradually integrate the flour baking soda mixture at low speed. I've attached the pouring guard to my mixer bowl and I'm using a large spoon, but the dry mix could easily be sifted in or poured in slowly. However you add it, make sure you do go slowly, as it has a tendency to jump out of the bowl and all over everything. The last ingredient to get mixed in is 2 cups or 1 bag of semisweet chocolate chips. I prefer the chunk-style chips as their large size goes well with the large cookies we're going for. I add the chips gradually as well. The popping sound you'll hear is actually the mixer blade being deflected by the chocolate chips. If your mixer is not locked down, the motor will actually start to jump up and down, so keep it locked. While your dough is chilling in the refrigerator, set your oven for 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Also set up a landing pad with some hot pads or trivets and a cooling rack nearby. The type of cookie sheet you use is unimportant. What's important is that it's lined with parchment paper. That'll be critical for getting the cookies out in one piece. Also, you'll need some all-purpose flour for your hands and the countertop, your cookie dough, straight from the refrigerator of course, and your number 16 disher, available from most restaurant supply stores. Number 16 disher yields a 1/4 cup scoop of dough. Starting off, flour your hands and the work surface, in this case the countertop. Take a scoop of dough and form it into a ball. This can either be done directly in your hand, or it can be done on the countertop itself. If the dough gets too sticky, add a little bit more flour until it's easily workable. Make sure that the chocolate chips are evenly distributed throughout, and place onto the parchment paper with light finger pressure. Now normally when I'm doing a full batch I'll take 6 scoops, flop them onto the countertop, and then roll them one after another. Since I'm only making 2 cookies for this demonstration, I'll forego that. However, spacing is critical. Never put more than 6 cookies on any one sheet. When done, the cookies will be golden brown and dry along the edges, while the centers will still be puffy and a bit wet. You'll notice they stick to the parchment paper, but the parchment does not stick to the pan. Let the cookies cool in the pan for approximately 10 minutes. You can make use of this downtime by putting another tray into the oven. Pick up the cookie sheet and hold it either directly beside or above the wire rack. Slide the parchment paper, cookies and all, onto the rack. Let the cookies cool on the paper on the rack for another 5 minutes. To remove the cookies from the parchment paper, simply grasp them by the edges and gently twist or peel them from the surface of the paper. They may leave behind some crumbs or melted chocolate, but don't worry. The sheets can be reused several times, and at least enough times to finish out the dough we've made.